Hello everybody, sorry, right in the midst of a sneezing fit, which I was trying to get done before we started the show, and then I clicked on the wrong button to start with. Well done me. Doing marvelously well. Anyway, I hope everybody is alright. Hopefully, I will stop sneezing and we'll be good at this point. Okay, I'm trying to fight it back. Anyway, welcome everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. For some reason, YouTube is telling me there's no data. But I'm looking and there's no drop frames or anything. So what the heck is going on? Anyway, hopefully you guys can see me and everything is good. Yeah, there we go. It says good connection now. All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Songwriting Simplified with me, Jonny Lipsham, here at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk on this April 3rd. My goodness me, we're at April 3rd already, which means we've gone past Easter, we've gone past April Fool's Day, and we are into April. We're into the 4th month of the year. That's crazy. 2024 is going by way too fast. And I can't quite handle the speed of this year. Anyway, apologies for sounding a bit kind of bunged up. I am a bit bunged up, to be fair. And it's kind of gradually developed as the day has worn on, to the point where I've had a nosebleed already and I've had 2 sneezing fits, and that was the second. The first one, I think I counted 35 sneezes in a row. That one was only 8, so we're not bad. All right, so let's make a start. And I'm just going to try and see who we have at the top of the show. I think Tony Stringer might have been the first in the door. Let me double check that by unpinning my own message there. No, it's Boris. Boris, it was you. It was you that was first in the door. At 20 past 10 p.m. my time. Well done, you. Followed by Tony Stringer, actually. And he has 2 questions which we will get to in a second. And we've got Sean Aaron here as well. And we have Billy Morgan and John Hawk. And we've got Ron Figura. We've got the elusive 1970. And we've got Rich Cresswell, and we've got Don Oliver and Simon Carpenter, and we've got Gobe My Five. Anyway, he says, good evening from Salzburg. Good grief, Salzburg! I love Salzburg. What a wonderful city Salzburg is. I have been there many times over the years, and I love it. One of my favorite cities in all of Europe. Billy says, God bless my sneezes. Thank you very much, Billy. I appreciate that. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning over in Salzburg. So you, my friend, are a wonderful lunatic, and I appreciate you immensely. Glad you are here, and I hope you enjoy this evening's show. Now, I know that we have had a new update to Studio One. And we have a new instrument for those of you that are members of Studio One Plus. You get this new instrument called Lead Architect, which is actually pretty darn good. I have had a good time playing about with it. It's pretty cool. The GUI is nice, and the sounds are actually pretty good. I'm gonna say that they are pretty good. They're pretty decent. And you will find lots of good uses for them, and I'm sure that you'll also find some surprising uses for them as well. So yeah, so those are pretty good. Now, the other major thing that was added to Studio One, and I did cover this in my video, which is the TuneCore integration, which is just like the SoundCloud integration, by the way. And I have had several people ask me, why TuneCore? Why TuneCore and not DistroKid? You know, where we could have done DistroKid, right? But why didn't we do just DistroKid? There's a couple of reasons for that. The first, probably the most obvious reason, or the most logical reason, is the pricing of TuneCore, because they have like an unlimited license. In fact, they have a couple of unlimited licenses that are actually really cheap. Like, I think one is at £16 or $20 per year, and then the other one is I think $40 or $50 per year, which is actually really surprisingly low in price for those unlimited licenses, which I was very impressed by that when I saw that. I thought, actually, the pricing on this thing is actually really quite good. So the client that is inside of Studio One is really great, because just like you can upload to SoundCloud, you can now upload directly to TuneCore. So let's say you complete an album, you master it in the project page, you can now upload that directly to TuneCore, and then from TuneCore you can distribute it to the world, either on social media platforms or to streaming services wherever you want them to go. So it's actually pretty good. It's surprisingly good, actually. I had never created a TuneCore account before. I didn't really know anything about TuneCore until we started testing this, and so I thought, hey, you know what? I better go and get myself an account. So I did, and it's actually really easy to connect it to Studio One. So it's very, very cool. Very, very useful, I think, and it's going to be a good way for you guys to distribute your music outside of the usual places like SoundCloud and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's an option. You don't have to use it, but I think it's useful. It's there if you want it. You can create a free TuneCore account, and you can upload to social media, I think pretty much unlimited for free social media distribution. So like up to YouTube and places like that, you can get that for free, I think, on TuneCore. So that's pretty good. But other than that, there isn't really a whole lot to Studio One 6.6, which is why my video was only 23 minutes long. And it was 23 minutes long because I really wanted to go over the important things like the new instrument and stuff like that. So other than that, there is a ream, and I mean serious ream of bug fixes, loads of them. I think there's like 4 or 5 pages or something like that of just pure and simple bug fixes. Some of them have been long-standing bugs that have been around for a wee while, and it was good to finally get those ones done and dealt with. So that's pretty cool. Plenty of bug fixes. But yeah, other than that, there isn't really a whole lot to it in terms of new features, content, stuff like that. There just isn't. So what I'm trying to do tonight is kind of make my talk about the Studio One update specific to songwriting. And so really the two big things are the instrument and the integration with TuneCore. And that's pretty much it for songwriters. There's nothing really else. The only other features that I think are worth taking a look at, paying attention to, is if you're using the show page, you can now flip the colors of the lyrics in the lyrics display. So if you've got lyrics in songs in the show page, you can now flip those so that they not only are they white, but they are big. So when you're on the line that you're about to sing, it sticks out. The font size is bigger and it's white, and then the other lines are blue, and then once those lines are done, they are grayed out. So it is by far the easiest thing to see under lights. I tested it under these lights, my nice blue LEDs, and then these lights that I'm using to light my beautiful sculpted features. I tested it with that, and you know what? It was really readable. I checked it with my iPad, because I've got the iPad on the new build of the Studio One remote, and it works really, really great. and you can really see the lyrics very, very clearly. And I basically propped up my my iPad up on the shelf here that you can't really see, and then I stood at the back of the room and I could read the lyrics pretty clearly. So that for me is a really, really useful update to the lyrics display. Other useful things are probably the macro toolbars for the project page and show page. Now, there aren't any specific pages for macros for either of those, but you can create a new page. You can create one for the show page, and you can create one for the project page as well, and then you can start populating it with buttons and commands and groups as you require for your needs, for you know, things that you do over and over again in both the project page and the show page, like such as selecting items in a set list, moving to the next item in the set list, stuff like that. Commands that are available, you know, on the iPad app. You could probably also try and line up so that you've got them in the show page or the project page on your computer, on your Mac or your PC. So those are really, really good. So basically that's it. Those are the four big ones for me: lyrics display, TuneCore, lead architect, macro toolbars, and that's pretty much it. But that's by design. It was only 6.6. It wasn't 7, or it wasn't, you know, another major update. So it's not meant to be really a feature update. It was meant to be a smaller update that basically dealt with a lot of maintenance issues, fixing a whole bunch of bugs that have been kicking around for a while. So it did do that, but they also thought that it would be a good idea to introduce the new instrument and, of course, the new licensing as well. So now the rebranding of the Studio One Plus Perpetual license to Studio One Plus Hybrid, which means you get a perpetual license at the end of your 12-month subscription period, which I think is pretty cool. It's a good option, kind of like rent to own, if you like. So that basically at the end you've paid off the value of the product and it's now yours. You can do with as you wish. So I think that's quite cool. And it's a clear indication, as far as I'm concerned, that perpetual licensing is not going anywhere, regardless of what anybody says. But like I said at the top of the show, those of you that saw my pinned post, I'm up for discussing the stuff, the new stuff, and the new licensing and all of that, but we're not going to get into the merits debate, whether this is a good thing, whether this is not a good thing. We're not going to go there because that's outside of the scope of this show. Okay, this is Songwriting Simplified. Really, I want to talk about what's available now for songwriters in Studio One. All right, so with that in mind, let's get to Boris's questions. And then if you've got any other songwriting, composing, arranging questions or music theory questions, get those into the chat and I'll try and deal with them as best I possibly can. Excuse my sniffing and snorting. Please. Let's see. So Boris says, when constructing a melody, I heard the term chord tones. Which tones of which chords? Do the tones follow the chords, or can they be moved about the phrase? Okay. So when we're talking chord tones, what do we mean by that? Well, what we mean is the notes that make up the chord. That is what is meant by chord tones. So, for example, let's take this C major chord. It's just a C major triad. What are the chord tones? C, which is the root, E, which is the major third, and G, which is the fifth of the chord. All right, so those are your chord tones. So let's say we're going from chord C to chord F to chord G, and then back to C again. So we would be going C, F, G, C. Okay, so let's say we're doing that. So I can create a simple melody just by using the chord tones, the notes that are in those chords to make a melody. So I can just go. And there, I've got a little melody. It's not very complicated. It's not very clever. It goes up and it comes back down again. So I'm going up and then I'm coming back down to the tonic again. That's all I'm doing. So. And that's it. It's just the notes that make up the chords. So what did I do? Well, I went up the C major arpeggio, and then I went to the third of the F major chord, the A, and then I descended A, back to the tonic, to F, then the the C at the bottom, and then I ascended the G chord, which gave me that nice leading tone up to the tonic again, the octave above. And then I descended the C major arpeggio to arrive back at the tonic at the bottom. So we basically went up in a full range of 1 octave and then came back down, just using those chord tones. You know? It's a really, really simple melody. So, one of the things we looked at the other week when we were talking about melody writing was how can we dress something like just using chord tones up? Well, we can do passing notes. So I'm kind of already doing that when I'm going up because I'm using the G, which is the 5th of the chord of the C chord, as a passing note to get to the 3rd of F major. And then the bottom note, the C, becomes a passing note into the 5th of the G chord. And then we got that nice leading tone. So already there is a little bit of passing notes going on here. But we can still make that more interesting by putting in a passing note between the passing notes. So for example, I could go... So what am I doing there? Instead of going C, E, G, I'm putting in the D in between the C and the E. And then to come back down. So I'm just putting in a little passing note between those tones. So you can totally make a melody that basically just starts out with just spelling out the chords for your piece. And then put in some little passing notes between those notes. And that way you've created a little bit more interest to your melody, okay? And of course those are all diatonic passing notes, okay? There's no chromatic notes going on here. Everything is kept within that C major scale. But you can use chromatic passing tones, you know? So I could add in another passing tone between the C and the E, because we've already got, there's the original note of the C major chord, and then we change that to, but how about we do this, like that. Now we've got it taking on a little bit more of a bluesy context, because we've got this kind of flat third in here as well. And we're into blues territory right there, without really trying, you know. Or whatever. So you can add in lots of chromatic little passing tones. So that's what those are. Those are passing notes, and then you got chord tones that are kind of like the main feature notes, and then the passing notes that are in between. All All right, so I hope that helps you, Boris. It's a good question. Your follow-up question is, can the music creation macro toolbar assist in melody exploration / creation? Well, let's give it a go. Why not? So we will go over to Studio One and we will create a new song. I've already got a bunch of songs open, which we will ignore. We'll just go straight to a new song. All right, so we've got our new song here. And let's get our macro toolbar open. And we'll stick it in the music creation mode. So you've got lots of things here. You can create notes, you can select notes, you can move notes, you can randomize values. So you can randomize pitch, velocity, length, and then you can shuffle. But then you can thin out, and you can so you can thin out by 25%, by 50%, or you can simplify, and then you can like do the global note off thing, all notes off. So that's a useful little function. So let's go here. And we will grab presence. We will leave lead architect for now because not everybody has access to that. And we will go with a flugelhorn. Why not? With some vibrato. And we will double click in here to create an audio MIDI part. Excuse me. And we've got our pencil tool and okay, so we've got a really, really horrible little melody here. Kind of starts out a little bit like I Got Rhythm, actually. That was completely unintentional. Now it really does sound like I Got Rhythm. Now we go a bit chromatic. And I'm going to make that a major third at the end. Alright, so we can open up this toolbar as well. We can stick this in creation mode as well. And we can fill with 16th notes. And look what we got now. Now, some of these are a bit weird. Now, the worst part about this is too many notes. So let's simplify. There we go. Let's try that. Now, we'll notice that there are some notes that you can't do because you can't play two notes at the same time on a flugelhorn. So let's see what we got. Did I hear a couple of notes happening at the same time there? Yes, I did. So we'll take away this low one. I think there's a really, really low note down there. There is. Let's bring up some of these low notes. Because they are out of the range of the instrument. And that's like a note that you can't play. Alright, so let's try that. Again, I hear another note that could just fill that gap there. I'm going to get rid of that high note. Nope, there's another note. Another two note thing. Now, some of you, as you're listening to that, will kind of think, kind of sounds a little bit like the theme tune to this show, right? Well, you're not wrong, because I did use these tools to create that piece. So that's how I did that. So we've got something quite similar here. Okay, so and that's, you can set this so that it's fixed to a scale if you want to. At the moment we got this fixed to chromatic, so let's maybe fix this to something else. And then what we can do is we can set this to scale, and then notes that don't belong we can change. Make sure all of them are now correct. That one is not. There we go. All right, so now some of these notes are, maybe a little bit too short, so we can, kind of lengthen a few of these. I can make that kind of a little bit more legato. I can move that along a little bit. I'll make this one a little bit longer as well. Maybe that was too long, actually. And that note there, I'm going to delete that note. All right, so we've got something that's in C Mixolydian, which kind of works quite nicely. And so then what we can do now, if we want to, is we could create a keyboard part. So we could go with a piano, just I don't know. And we can double click here. And we can create some chords. So let's kind of do that and kind of like, I think you have to press Shift to create chords. Or is it Alt? I can never remember. There we go. And I'm just kind of making this up a little bit. There we go, I forgot to let go of that. Oh, come on, Lipsham. Something like that. I'm just kind of making it up. That sounds absolutely horrendous. But I think you get the idea. If, you know, you can make this kind of totally random music if you want to, where, I mean, what I've just done here is not particularly musical, but yes, you can totally use the music creation tool. And once you've got your notes into here, then you can start to kind of go, okay, well, let's kind of do a Control A, select all of those, and let's thin this out by 50% so we simplify some of those voicings. That's kind of better. Let's thin out maybe by 25%. And that's actually a little bit more, a little bit better. Now the the rhythm is kind of a little all over the place. But hey, kind of sounds pretty cool, especially once you thin things out a little bit. So we've got that in there. Let's get a drum loop. Because I like drum loops, and I'm actually going to use a loop from Loop Loft, which you guys won't have access to these, but these are pretty darn cool. So that's maybe a little bit too straight ahead. Let's try different one. Yeah, let's go for something weird. Let's go for something weird, and then we just duplicate this, and nice. Okay, so let's loop this a little bit. You guys are going to get a bit sick of this, but we want a bass part, don't we? So do presence again, and we'll go bass, and we'll go, let's see, contemporary, fingered, full. And we'll apply the same kind of thing here. And so we'll stick in some notes. And then we'll go. Move that one back. And let's have this one on the beat here. Make that a little bit longer. Too long. Put that one on the beat. Oops. And there we have it. We have a simple little melody written entirely with random notes entered into the note editor, and then I thinned it out, and then I moved things around just a little bit, but I didn't really do a whole lot of moving things around. And I put a little drum loop with it, and we created a nice little bass part that goes with the piano part quite nicely. And you could develop this. You could take this idea and you could totally develop it. You could go, okay, that melody is actually quite solid sounding now. Whereas before it was a little bit kind of all over the place. Now it's a bit more solid sounding, and it's got a little bit more of defined phraseology. Cool thing is, you could totally duplicate this melody, and then you could use this mirror tool. And what the mirror tool can do is it can make the melody go basically backwards. It will turn up into down and down into up, and it will totally invert the melody. And that is a variation of your melody. So you could make this into a theme and variations. Have this as your theme, and then do some variations where you mirror, and then maybe you flip, and then you flip the mirrored version. And so you end up with 3 different variations of your little 4-bar loop. And then what you could do is you could totally make this into a minimalist piece of music. And you could say to each of your musicians, okay, this 4-bar phrase, I want you each to play it a different number of times. So you could say to your trumpet player, I want you to play this first melody phrase 6 times. Then say to your piano player, I want you to play those particular chord voicings 4 times. Your bass player, I want you to play those 4 bars 3 times. Your drum loop just keeps going. And then the next block, you can do a different number of repeats for each musician. And then, so what you'll end up with is this kind of minimalist kaleidoscope of different phrases moving at different points. And it'll be interesting to see what comes out at the other end. Some of it might be a bit of a train wreck. Some of it might actually work surprisingly well. And it's a little bit what we call aleatoric music or chance music. It's chance because although you're making these calculations, like number of times that phrase gets played, whether it's played backwards, upside down, or upside down and backwards, then what you can do is the chance element of this is you don't know how those parts are all going to weave in and out of each other. It may be successful at certain points, it may be less than successful at others. And where you encounter something that's less successful, you can go in and you can tidy that up. Maybe you thin it out a little bit. Maybe you don't thin it out. Maybe it's too thin, and you go and add in some more notes, or you adjust some of the notes so you don't have, particularly unpleasant clashes, that kind of thing. And then what you're left with is a piece of music where you've just entirely used the macro toolbar and a little bit of jiggery-pokery editing. That's a technical term, by the way, jiggery-pokery. Especially when said with a Scottish accent, it is very officially a musical term. I taught this to university undergrad and postgrad degree levels, so yes, jiggery-pokery is definitely a musical term. And then you could end up with a very, very cool and sophisticated piece of music that you wrote just entirely by pressing buttons in the music creation toolbar and seeing what comes out, and then changing it according to what your ears like and what they don't like. And you can end up with a really cool piece of music. That is exactly how I created my theme tune for the Songwriting Simplified show. It's exactly the same. And it just happened to work really well. So there we go. I hope that answers that question. And Billy says, it doesn't suck. Well, there you go. That's fantastic. Yeah, Billy's got some good answers to questions there. However, there's one little bit you're not quite correct on. Not quite, Billy. Very close. Not quite. He says to Elusive 1970, says, yes, the latest version of Studio One, i.e. 6.6. Well, here's the thing. If you sign up now, today, on the Studio One Plus Hybrid, in 12 months' time, what you will get is whatever version of Studio One we are at that point. Whatever it might be. It could be 6.7, could be 6.8, could be 6.9, could be whatever it could be. That is, at that point, you are granted the perpetual license for Studio One at that point, and it is essentially frozen in time. What do I mean by frozen in time? What I mean by that is it is a non-updating perpetual license. What the heck is non-perpetual? Non-updating, rather. It is perpetual, but it's not updating. What does this mean? This means that your perpetual license that you can keep forever and you can use forever, it doesn't get feature updates, but it does get all relevant bug fixes for that version of Studio One, whatever version that is. Okay? So it is a perpetual license for Studio One Professional, and you can use it, and you do get all the core sound libraries that you would ordinarily have got with Studio One Professional that's not part of the subscription model. So basically the standard Studio One Professional license, but it doesn't get feature updates. Okay? It is where it is at that point. So once your subscription is finished, completed, anything that you gained from the subscription, you will lose. Okay? You don't get to keep those because those are kind of exclusive things from the membership. You don't get to keep those. But you do get to keep Studio One itself and the core sounds and the core plugins and that kind of stuff. And then it doesn't update in terms of features, but it does update in terms of maintenance and bug fixes, that kind of thing. So I wanted to clarify that because that's an important point. Don't think of it as a kind of substandard or lesser professional license, because it's not. It has all the features and functionality of Studio One Professional as you have come to know it over the years. It just won't have the add-ons, and it won't get new features. That's it. But it will be maintained. So if there are bugs that are discovered in whatever version of Studio One it is that you have at that point, then those will get fixed. You will get an update delivered to you that will fix those bugs. Okay? But you won't get any new additional features. Those are reserved unto the subscription model, if you like. Cool thing is, though, let's say that the new version that comes out at the end of those 12 months, and you decide, you know what? Nothing really interests me from that feature set. I think I'll just sit this one out. You can do that. With the hybrid model, you can totally do that. You can totally sit that build out entirely. And then let's say later down the line, you go, you know what? This new feature set that's been added to Studio One in the subscription, in the subscription part of it, I kind of like those features. I would like to have those. You can get those by basically signing up again and, joining back in, if you like. And then what will happen is you join back in for another year, you get those features that you particularly want, and you can use those for the whole year. And then Studio One will be again, you'll be granted another perpetual license frozen in time at that point. Okay, so that's kind of how that thing works. So yes, like you say there, at least in 1970, you're quite correct. You have a backup that you can keep. So, for example, if you forget somehow or you don't have auto renew set up on your subscription, or you forget, or you have had to change credit cards or something like that, something happens that means that your subscription kind of temporarily goes away, you've still got your perpetual license and you can still work. You can still work until you're able to get back in again. Okay? So it's a good thing. The hybrid solution is actually a good thing. And here's one of the reasons why it is good. Because with the subscription model, what has hitherto happened is this. when you got to the end of your year or your month, whatever it has been, but let's say you were on the annual package. So you got to the end of your 12 months, but you only had Studio One 6 because you were a member of Studio One Plus. Okay? And let's say you didn't have any other version of Studio One, or at least you didn't have another version of Studio One that was supported, right? So let's have that as our scenario. Let's say you upgraded from version 2 to version 6 via the annual subscription. Your annual subscription has come to an end. What happened before today, or yesterday, whenever it was, what happened before the change to the new model was this. You would have lost Studio One 6, which means any songs that you had created in Studio One 6 would also not work because they would not open in your older version of Studio One. You would be stuck. You would be completely stuck with no recourse other than to go, I need to emergency upgrade, renew my subscription now because I've got people coming to the studio to work on this song in half an hour. That's kind of a disaster scenario that I know some people have been in, and it's not been great for them. So a lot of our customers made feature requests and they said, hey, it would be great if when you get to the end of your 12 months, you get a perpetual license of Studio One. Seeing as you're paying in this much money, wouldn't it be great if you get a perpetual license at the end of it? And we said, you know what, that's a great solution because it gives you the subscription and it gives you a perpetual license at the end of it. And it means that, your cycle, your work cycle will not be nearly so catastrophically undone. Because you will still have a working version of Studio One 6 or whatever version it is going forward, right? So I think that's a particularly good solution. We basically listened to our customers and we said, sure, we'll give you this. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to comment on some of the things that have been said about the hybrid thing, some of the counter arguments that have been made about the hybrid model. That's kind of what I think personally, and that is also the way it was designed to be. It was designed to be an answer to not only a problem, but an answer to a feature request from customers. So we see it in that, and I certainly see it in that respect in a positive light. Just Bob says, if you bought Studio One Professional and haven't subscribed to Plus, your purchase will update and fix bugs, etc. Plus gives access to that which is not available with Pro purchase. Membership has privileges. Yes, it does. Membership does have privileges. And that's the other thing, if you were a member of a VIP establishment, let's say, some kind of high-class establishment, I'm never going to be a member of any of those. But let's just say I was. For example, I was a member of this high-class establishment, and I had been paying into this high-class establishment, and that meant I got to use the VIP back entrance to the club, and I got to sit in the VIP area, and I got to be served at my table by the VIP waitresses and pay the VIP prices, and get to hang out with all the cool and important and sophisticated people. I'm paying a fee to be able to have that. But as soon as I stop paying my fee for that, I'm not going to be able to go back in that back door anymore. The bouncers will tell me to get lost in, let's just say, slightly unsavory terms. They might use some colorful metaphors or two. And I won't be allowed to go in and sit in that nice area, and I won't be able to be waited on by the nice waitresses and get the much lower pricing. I won't get any of that, and I won't be able to hang out with the cool people. I'll be able to watch from afar, but I won't be able to get back in. So membership does have its privileges, and so it is with a subscription to anything. If you subscribe to Netflix, you get to watch the films. If you cancel your subscription, you no longer get to watch the films. So, it's that's the way I see it, to be honest. Let's see. Edgar says, what's the additional cost for hybrid? All the pricing and all the details about hybrid, if you are unsure, if you go to personas.com, and then if you click if at the menu at the top, if you click on Studio One, the drop down menu will appear and you'll see a menu item called Studio One Hybrid. Click on that. Here's the thing. When you click on that and it goes to that page, what you'll find that there is a lot of information. I advise you to read all of it and read all of it very carefully. There's pricing information at the bottom there. You get to see we still do the perpetual license. That has not gone away. Contrary to some people's belief, the perpetual license is still here and it's here to stay. It's not going away. We're keeping it. Okay? With what used to be the annual membership, you now get the perpetual license included with your annual membership. And monthly just continues to be a monthly rolling subscription. You don't get the perpetual license with that. So bear that in mind. So that pricing detail is there. If you scroll past that a little bit, you'll get to an FAQ section. And there are some questions there and some detailed answers for each of those questions. Read those carefully. You might need to read some of the answers 2 or 3 times just to make sure that you've fully understood the answers to those questions. And when you have, here's the deal I'm going to make with you. If after you have read everything that is in that web page and you've looked at all of those questions and you've looked at all of the answers to that questions, if you still have questions about the hybrid subscription model, email me. Okay? Go to the bottom of the website, which is on the other screen over here. Go there, jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. Hit contact us, fill out the contact form, and drop me a line with any further questions that may have arisen from your reading of that entire Studio One Plus hybrid section, including all of the FAQs, all of the answers to each of those questions there. So if you've still got questions, you can email me and I will do my very best to answer you. And if we, in the course of that, if we find actually there are other questions that you raise that I go, you know what, I don't think the article does address that. I work for Personas, so I've got you, by me, have a distinct advantage. I can then take that to marketing and say, hey guys, what about this scenario? It's not covered in the website. Do you have an answer for this? And it might be that they go, you know what? That's a great question. We maybe should update the website with the answer to that. And I will let you know. I will let you know that that's what they're going to do. Or they might say to me, and they might respond back to me and say, hey, you can tell them this. And if that's the case, I will pass that information on to you. Because I want to make sure that everybody is well equipped with all the correct information and all of the correct understanding of how this works. Because I don't want any of the people watching this show, either now or on the replay, I don't want any of you to be lost. I don't want any of you to fall into misunderstandings. I don't want any of you to find yourself in a predicament where you don't get how it works, you don't understand how it works, but you want to make sure that you have the right deal that is going to be best for you and how you use Studio One going forward. Okay? I want to make sure that every single one of you watching now or on replay gets the best deal that's going to work for them in using Studio One going forward. Okay? That is how I want to serve you. And that's how I want to make this whole experience better for you. All right? So do we have ourselves a deal? I hope we do. Because I want to make this a really good thing for everybody, because I believe, and I'm not just saying this because I work for the company, but I actually believe this is actually a good thing. I believe this is a good thing for everybody. It's a solution that I think works for everybody. It gives you the best of two options. It gives you more flexibility. It gives you effectively a rent-to-own scheme. Kind of a little bit like what you had with Splice a few years back, before Studio One 5. You could get Studio One 4 either from the shop as a perpetual license, paying the full price. Or you could upgrade, paying the full price. Or you could go to splice.com and you could purchase Studio One Professional from there, and you would pay a certain amount per month until it's paid off. And then once it's paid off, the license is yours. We don't do that thing with Splice anymore. We do it directly with you guys. That's what the hybrid model is essentially. Except you just get a whole lot more goodies than you got with Splice. So it's kind of what we did with Splice, but with some extra medication, shall we say. So I hope that helps, guys. I really do, because this is important to me. You guys are important to me. Because you are subscribers to my channel, and and if you're not subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button now. That way you can be part of this community, be part of this group of people who hang out on a Sunday night and a Wednesday night, and we talk music. And you could get to know these fantastic people. And I get to answer your questions, and I love answering your questions. You could be a part of all of that for free by hitting the subscribe button. So, hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it if you did, if you're watching and you're not subscribed. And I will do my level best in return for your subscription to make sure that you fully understand how this kind of worked with Studio One going forwards, and make sure that you get all your questions answered to the best of my ability, to make sure that you get the best experience out of Studio One, because this is really important to me. Not just because I work for the company that makes this stuff, but because I actually believe in the products that we make. Not because they pay my bills. You know what? If I didn't draw a salary from Presonus and they didn't pay my bills, I would still believe in Studio One. I would still believe in the products that we make, because I think they're freaking awesome. I think they are the best products in the business. And I want you guys to get the best experience out of those products. Okay? So you'll get honesty from me. Yes, there's some things I cannot talk about, and there's some things where I will deliberately stay out of. Because, I value my job. I love my job. I love the company. So there are certain things I'm not going to get involved with. So don't even ask me, because I won't. And then there are things that I cannot talk about. But other than that, everything else is going to be honesty, straight up honesty. All right. So the things I like, I will say, hey, I like this. Or things I don't like, I'm going to say, I don't like this, but you know what? I know people who can make it better. I'll talk to those people and see what we can do. All right. There we go. I hope that helps you all. And my logo is covering my camera. No, it's not. I'm looking at it now. Nope, I'm not seeing how my logo is covering my camera. I don't know how you're seeing that, because that's not what I'm seeing. And I'm looking at what you guys are seeing on the channel, okay? And I'm not seeing that my camera is being covered by my logo. I think you're thinking of this. Yeah, I'm not on that screen. So I don't know. Maybe your picture's frozen somehow. Anyway, that is going to be it, folks. I hope all of that helps you, and I hope all of that helps you sort everything out. And if you got like some questions about like your sub is going to end a wee bit early, you know what? I'm not going to be able to answer those questions. It's not because I don't want to. It's more because those are sales and sales related issues. And the best thing for you to do, if you've got concerns about, am I going to meet the you know, it's not really a cutoff point, but it's a starting point. Am I going to meet that? Am I going to meet those qualifications for getting you grandfathered into the hybrid or what? Make a support ticket, please. And, you know, we will direct those to sales, and the sales and marketing team will help you out. The sales and marketing team at Presonus are amongst the best in the business, all right? They really are. And they work phenomenally hard, and they deal with a lot of people with a lot of questions, okay? So treat them nice, because they're my friends, so treat them nice, and work with them, and they will get you squared away. They'll get you the best answer for your scenario, whatever that is. Yeah, Jonas says logo is fine, camera is fine. So I don't know what happened to your screen there, Bill, but oh, you said when I'm showing the classroom. Okay, let me go check that out. Let's go back over to the screen. Oh, is it? Okay, maybe I just need to move it up a wee bit. Or, hang on, let's move that across. And let's go back over to Studio One. Is that better? Is that better, Billy? Let me know. Let me know whether you think that's better. Have I fixed it? Or should I be up here? What do you think? You think I should be at the top or the bottom, but off center? Let me know, guys. And we'll make this the last thing. We'll make this the last thing of the night, okay? Tell me what you think. There's always a delay with chat. It's a pain in the butt. All right, folks. Tell me what you think. Top or bottom? I will go with the majority decision. Okay, Bobby Booth says top. I don't know what 70p means. Chris says, we don't need to see you. That's fine. I can turn me off. Like, bing. There we go. Elusive 1970 says top. I know you guys, I know it's not essential that you guys see me. I think it's just helpful for you guys to see me because, you know, sometimes I forget that I'm in Studio One. Let's see how many tops we got. 1, 2, 3, 4. Billy voted twice. That's cheating. All right, if we get one more vote for top, then that will sway it, and I'll keep it at the top. There we go. Boris has the deciding vote, so we're going for the top. I'm going to move it this way just a little bit. Let me line it up with the top of the browser. All right, how's that? That should be good now. That should be good now. And I will keep it that way forever. I will keep it that way. All right, so I will always be at the top instead of the bottom. I had not written... See, all of this time, folks, all of this time, you never told me that when I'm in classroom, my logo at the bottom corner was covering up my camera. Man, we've done 359 shows for Sunday Night Live and 52 solo shows for Songwriting Simplified, and I had no idea. Anyway, fixed now. All right, so Billy has an after-show Zoom. I'm hoping that I'm not going to sneeze anymore. So we will call this. Thank you so much, guys, for your great questions, both music and subscription related. Thank you, Jonah, for coming in here and helping me out. I'm going to make you a moderator. In fact, I'm going to make you a managing moderator. There we go. All right. So, Jonah, the next time you come into my show, you will find yourself in blue with the blue wrench, my friend. Thank you. You have been a great help to me of late. So that's my little gift to you, my little thank you. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. We peaked at, let me see, 26 people, which is pretty good for a Wednesday when I am sneezing everywhere. So thanks a lot, folks. I will see you on Sunday night for Sunday Night Live. And if necessary, we will continue to talk about your questions to do with hybrid and Studio One 6 and all of that stuff. Providing we keep it nice and civil, just like we have done tonight. If we keep it this way, and it's a proper, nice, friendly discussion, happy to do it. But if arguments or negativity starts, that's it. That's the end of that. All right. I'm starting to lose my voice. I wish you all a very good night, and I'll see you on Sunday, 6 p.m. Central, for more Studio One shenanigans. Until then, folks, good night. Bye.